Errol Spence Jr. finally speaks on getting a 3-fight unification fight with Yordenis Ugas after, having some things that could have took him out the game and possibly prematurely ended his career. I'm going to talk about all that and more in this video. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Welcome. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. If you love the content, I'm glad. Throw a like on the video. Happy holidays, everybody. Errol Spence, he finally speaks, and he's been a little bit more on social media. We'll check in and tap in with the man to see what he had to say. Posted a picture. First thing I see is he looks like he's in the gym working, and he looks like he's in shape. This is a great thing because previously Errol Spence did mention on, I believe it was Showtime's All the Smoke podcast with the NBA players Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson, that there were times in his career, like before the Sean Porter fight, Unification, and his fight with Mikey Garcia, I see something. He did say that his weight ballooned up to upwards of like 180, high 180s, maybe even 190. So to see him off of an injury and a layoff and to look like he's controlling his weight is definitely a good thing, especially since we know now he has an upcoming fight. Many people did not believe this fight with Ugas would come into fruition, but I told you that this would be next, and anybody who's watched my channel regularly can vouch for that. But let's tap in with Errol Spence. He says, and I quote, it says, 2 potential career-ending accidents in less than 2 years. But I'm still here, big fish. So he kept it short and sweet. And Errol, he should thank his lucky stars, and he has a lot to be hopeful for. He gets a second chance. Some people don't get second chances in life. He got in a car accident, very scary, traumatic moments. You've seen pictures. He even posted one of the pictures of his face in the aftermath. People were definitely worried. So the fact that he walked away, because I remember, if we're being honest, I remember Terence Crawford's former promoter, Top Ranks Bob Arum, founder, he did videos and interviews, and he stated that he has on good authority that Errol Spence will never be able to like walk again or fight again. And that's not true, because not only has he fought already, he looked good in the fight with Danny Garcia and beat Danny Garcia up and had his face looking probably worse than anyone that Danny Garcia has fought. And he did that off injury. So he looks very grounded now, very kind of like more of a homebody. He does pop out sometimes for the fights and a couple other events, take some trips with his family, beautiful family. And, it's good to see. He's flipping off all the haters and detractors, and he's out here grinding. So him getting the Ugas fight is big. This definitely stifles Terence Crawford. I've told you guys this. I think Crawford is in a very, very tight squeeze because Errol Spence is in a 3-belt unification. There's nothing you can tell me. This is if you were going to fight Yordenis Ugas out of Cuba at any point of your career, this would be the best time to do it, because since his losses, one, I don't think he lost to Sean Porter. I've always said that, always been on record saying that. But since those losses, like he was with Top Rank, they didn't really do nothing with him. They didn't really make Ugas a household name. But then he reinvented himself with Al Heyman, Luis de Cubas Jr., and PBC. And Ugas started having credible names. He, at one point, became a mandatory for Errol Spence. They never fought. And then fast forward to the future, I do think Ugas ended up beating Porter. And I think he looked dominant versus Manny Pacquiao. So for Errol to come off of injury to his eye and take on a southpaw killer like Ugas, who can box and has some power, has pop, this shows you that Errol Spence is a dog. And again, it leaves Terence Crawford with very few options. Now, I try to give you guys a realistic expectations on my channel, and like I said, it's looking bad for Bud Crawford because I don't really see where he goes in the first 2 quarters of next year, even in now that he decided to become a free agent, when Errol Spence is in this 3-belt unification. You can't be mad at that. Easy fight to facilitate. Ugas career best performance. Errol Spence off this injury, and he's facing a game guy. Now, what makes this even more difficult for Terence Crawford is ESPN is now reporting this as of today. A fight that some people were hopeful for Bud Crawford, like, okay, Errol's fighting Ugas, so give me Terence Crawford, Bud Crawford versus Virgil Ortiz Jr., who's highly ranked with the WBO. Guess what? Golden Boy has other plans, as you guys see. So I told you, Golden Boy wasn't going to make Virgil Ortiz, where he just got hurt, versus Mean Machine, and put him in with Crawford for his next fight. So they're developing their fighter. Some people are going to say he ducked Crawford or Jerron Boots Ennis in tougher fights, whatever. But the reality is ESPN is reporting Virgil Ortiz and Michael McKinnison, the 2 highest ranked WBO, people, have agreed to fight, and there's going to headline on DAZN early 2022. Multiple sources tell ESPN's Mike Coppinger. So these are ranked WBO guys that are welterweights that are going to fight, and they've agreed to fight each other, which means that Terence Crawford won't be able to fight against a guy like Virgil Ortiz, which is a fight that Virgil Ortiz said he wanted, but obviously Golden Boy doesn't want. So Terence Crawford, in the last 2 years of his career, he fought 1 time in November or December. December versus Kell Brook, December 2020, and then November 2021 against Sean Porter, and we've seen how those fights played out. So the fights were not prime versions of those fighters, and he had no activity from January to November, and then January to December. So he's fighting at the back half of the year, and it looks like another slow start because, I mean, what can I say? Crawford, great fighter, but business-wise, he's really stifled out of the whole business situation. Errol's fighting Ugas. That's 2 quality welterweights. Stanionis stepped aside, probably got a nice paycheck to step aside or something, and he's fighting on that undercard of Errol Ugas against Buteyev, who just stopped Jamal James in impressive fashion. So that right then and there, that's 4 quality ranked champions and or welterweights that Crawford can't fight. As I just showed you, boom, Virgil Ortiz ranked with the WBO, the highest ranked guy. And then Michael McKinnison, the other highest ranked guy. They're fighting each other per ESPN. Keith Thurman, he's breaking a long dry spell, and boom, he's fighting Mario Barrios, also on that card. Abel Ramos and Josecito Lopez, who are highly ranked welterweights. What is Crawford going to do in the first half of the fight game, for 2022? Sean Porter's retired, Pacquiao's retired. I just named about a good 6 or so ranked bigger names, or fights that would have been feasible, but they're all tied up. So what is Crawford going to do? Most likely have to play the waiting game. Now, the big thing for Crawford is, to me, I don't think he's being realistic with his positioning and his leverage. So he's in the mindset that he's going to get an equal split or 60% of the pot versus Errol Spence, but Errol Spence is fighting on another pay-per-view for 3 belts. So I don't see how that's going to work for Terence Crawford. And then again, all the other big names are pretty much booked up. So, Crawford's kind of by the balls here. Let me know how I did in this video. I'll talk about this more on the channel. Peace. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.